Principle 1, Save first, spend later. Rockefeller's financial philosophy of life. John D. Rockefeller, known as the first billionaire in human history, is famous not only for his vast fortune but also for his extremely disciplined financial philosophy. One of his most well-known sayings has become a guiding principle for millions of people learning about financial thinking. Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. This seemingly simple statement holds a profound truth: financial management should not begin with spending, but with saving. It goes against the common lifestyle of many people who receive their salary, spend emotionally, and only think about saving if there is anything left at the end of the month. Rockefeller taught that saving is not about setting aside what is left over, but is a personal financial obligation that must come first, before food, shopping, travel, or entertainment. Habits formed from childhood. Rockefeller didn't wait until he was wealthy to begin saving. As a teenager, he kept a notebook to record his personal expenses. He documented every penny earned from small jobs such as selling candy, raising chickens, and doing odd jobs. Most importantly, he always made the effort to save a portion of his income, no matter how small. In his autobiography, Rockefeller wrote that he was very serious about saving. He didn't spend based on emotion, but always planned carefully. Even when his income increased, he maintained a reasonable level of spending instead of immediately upgrading his lifestyle. This habit became the foundation of his financial discipline, which allowed him to gradually accumulate capital and eventually invest in major opportunities such as the Standard Oil Company. Application in modern life. Today, many people live by the mindset of spend whatever you earn, or worse, spend first, pay later, through credit cards. This leads to constant financial pressure, debt, and an inability to build savings. To apply Rockefeller's principle in modern life, the first step is to develop the habit of setting aside a fixed percentage, such as 10 to 20%, of your income as savings. Only after that should you use the remaining amount for daily living, entertainment, or shopping. This savings portion should go into a separate account, whether it's an emergency fund, investment account, or savings deposit. This method helps you take control of your financial future, avoid dependency on your salary, and stay calm in the face of risks such as illness, job loss, or economic downturns. Common mistakes when not applying this principle. When people don't follow the save first, spend later principle, they easily fall into these financial traps. First, emotional spending, making impulsive purchases without regard for actual financial capability. Second, lacking a contingency fund, when problems arise, they are forced to borrow money or pull from long-term investments. Third, having no capital to invest, without savings, people miss out on opportunities to grow wealth. Lastly, always being passive with money, they become slaves to their finances, constantly stressed and living with a sense of scarcity. Summary and practical lessons. Rockefeller did not become wealthy through luck or the lottery. He became rich through discipline and long-term financial thinking. One of the key principles was to save money as soon as income arrived. The practical takeaway is, when you receive money, immediately save 10 to 20%, then use the rest for expenses. Repeat this every month to create a strong, positive financial habit. When investment opportunities appear, such as buying stocks, starting a business, or investing in real estate, you will already have the capital to act. Conclusion: live like Rockefeller. If you truly care about financial freedom, stop asking, will I have money left to save at the end of the month? Instead, start asking, how much will I save at the beginning of this month? Rockefeller was not born rich, he became rich because he thought like a rich person. And you can start doing the same, with this one simple principle. Principle 2, always control your spending even if it's just one donate. 1. Rockefeller's second financial philosophy. John D. Rockefeller never despised small expenses. He once said, "I'd rather lose an opportunity than lose money foolishly." This quote clearly shows his sharp financial views and iron discipline. Every penny counts and needs to be strictly controlled. In his eyes, spending money is never arbitrary, even if it is just a small amount. He believed that those who get rich quickly without controlling their spending will soon become poor again, while those who are disciplined with even the smallest amount of money will accumulate a huge fortune over time. 2. Note-taking, Rockefeller's important secret. Rockefeller was famous for keeping detailed records of all his expenses. Even as a young man, he kept a book called Ledger A, where he recorded every single income and expense, no matter how small. For example, income from helping neighbors, 50 cents. Spend money on school supplies, 20 cents. Savings, 10 cents. You may think this is a small thing. But for Rockefeller, it was a principle of life. He understood that if you don't know where your money goes, you will never know why you are not rich. 3. Consequences of not controlling spending. In modern life, uncontrolled spending is very common. Mindless online shopping. Regularly rewarding yourself even if you haven't achieved anything yet. Buying coffee, milk tea, snacks every day without remembering. Signing up for a bunch of services like Netflix, Spotify, fitness apps, and then leaving them unused. These expenses seem small, but if added up monthly or annually, they can cost millions, money you could completely save or invest for profit. 4. How Rockefeller controlled his spending, and how you can learn from it. Rockefeller once said, "He who cannot master small money will never be able to keep large money." So what should you do to practice this principle in your life? First, record daily expenses. You can use a notebook like Rockefeller, or a phone app like Money Lover, Misa Income and Expense Book. Second, review every weekend. Look back at how much you spent, is there any waste? Third, categorize expenses. Set limits for groups such as eating, entertainment, shopping, studying. Fourth, apply the 24-hour rule. When you want to buy an item that is not really necessary, wait 24 hours. If after one day you still need it, buy it. If not, skip it. 5. Right mindset, wealth begins with control. Poor people often think, I don't have money so I don't need to control it. Rich people think, because I want money, I have to control it from now on. Rockefeller never let his emotions rule his wallet. He didn't spend to prove anything to society. He spent when necessary, and every penny spent had a clear purpose. Conclusion, expensive lesson. Do not despise small expenses, because they are the culprits that prevent you from saving. Treat money with sobriety, like Rockefeller did, every penny is a brick to build a long-term career. People who control their spending well not only keep their money, but also control their lives. Final conclusion, discipline is the root of financial freedom. Rockefeller once said, discipline in spending is the solid foundation for lasting wealth. If you want to become financially free, start by looking at your wallet every day, and controlling every penny that goes in and out. That's the first step for every millionaire, including Rockefeller. Principle 3, accumulate capital from the smallest things. 1. Rockefeller's fundamental thinking. From a very young age, John D. Rockefeller understood one thing very clearly. I will never become rich if I don't start saving from the smallest money. He didn't wait until he had a large sum of money to begin saving. Instead, he started with just a few pennies, and made saving a habit of survival. To him, every penny saved was a seed of future wealth. 2. True story, starting with 50 cents. At the age of 16, Rockefeller got his first job. It only paid 50 cents a day. Most people would think such a small income couldn't be saved. But Rockefeller thought differently. He used just a small portion of it for essential living needs. The rest, he carefully saved, and wrote down every detail in his Ledger A book. Within a few short years, those small savings had grown enough for him to begin investing. And those early investments became the foundation of what would one day become the massive Standard Oil empire. 3. Why can't most people accumulate capital? There's a common paradox in life. People often say they'll start saving when their income increases. But the truth is, if you don't save when you earn little, you won't save when you earn more. Because the real problem isn't income, it's habit. A person who cannot keep $10,000 won't be able to keep 10 million. Someone who spends 1 million carelessly will still spend 100 million if they don't develop a saving mindset. 4. Lessons from Rockefeller: little by little makes a lot. Rockefeller understood something powerful. Every penny saved is a brick in the foundation of financial freedom. Every penny invested wisely is a step closer to wealth. And every time you resist the urge to spend, you're strengthening your discipline and willpower. From earning just 50 cents a day, he trained himself in 3 crucial habits: scientific spending, reinvesting profits, and never letting money sit idle, because money should work for you, not sleep in your pocket. 5. How you can apply this today. You don't need to be a millionaire to start saving. But you do need to start saving if you ever want to become one. Here's how to begin. Start by saving 10% of your monthly income, send it straight into your savings account. Automate the process. Every time your salary arrives, save first, then spend. Cut back on small but regular costs like coffee, snacks, and unnecessary shopping. And reinvest those savings in something meaningful: your education, your skills, a side business, or a small investment. 6. The right attitude towards small money. Rockefeller taught us one simple truth: small money is real money. Wealth doesn't come from one big leap, it comes from consistent, steady, disciplined steps. Rich people don't get rich by luck. They get rich because they know how to save. They know how to accumulate. And they know how to make a profit, starting with every single penny. Conclusion: sow a habit, reap a fortune. Never look down on small things. A single small seed, if cared for patiently, can grow into a mighty tree. Start now, even if you only have a few tens of thousands, learn to save a portion, and let it grow. Like Rockefeller, make saving not just an action, but a way of life. Principle 4, always control your spending, every dollar must have a purpose. Rockefeller's philosophy on spending was clear. John D. Rockefeller never spent money on impulse. He often said, "I don't care how much I make. I care how much I keep, and how every dollar is being spent." To him, money was not just a tool, it was a responsibility. He believed money must be tightly controlled, not allowed to control your life. Spend with purpose, not a single penny wasted. From a young age, Rockefeller kept detailed expense books. He recorded everything, from the price of a pencil to a donation at church. For him, every expense had to have a legitimate reason. Every investment needed to bring clear, measurable value. He refused to spend based on emotion or temporary desire. Instead, he focused on long-term benefit. That's why he never fell into unnecessary debt or reckless financial decisions. A lesson for modern times: what are you really spending on? Ask yourself, do you know exactly how much you spend each month on coffee, snacks, shopping, or entertainment? How much of your spending is truly necessary, and how much is simply out of habit or impulse? Do you follow a spending plan, or do you let emotions decide? Many people work hard to earn money, but they cannot explain where that money goes at the end of the month. The problem isn't income, it's awareness and control. Rockefeller's personal financial system divided his income into 4 clear categories: compulsory savings, essential living expenses, personal development such as books, education, networking, and charity and community investment. This structure gave him full control over his finances. He always knew exactly where his money was going, and why. He believed that when you control your money, you control your life. But if money controls you, you become a slave to bills, debt, and pressure. Practical application: how to control spending like Rockefeller. Start by recording every expense you make daily. Use a notebook or a budgeting app. Next, classify all your expenses into clear groups: necessary, optional, development, and investment. Set a monthly budget limit for each category, and don't exceed it. At the end of each week or month, review what you've spent and cut out the things that add no value. And always keep an emergency fund, because life is unpredictable, and preparation is power. The rich mindset is to spend with strategy, not emotion. Rockefeller wasn't stingy. He still dressed well, gave generously, and invested in his family's future. But he never spent money without a clear purpose. He once said, "Every penny I spend is a soldier. And I have to make sure they go to the right battle." To him, every dollar must work. Every dollar must serve. In conclusion, financial discipline is the foundation of freedom. Controlling your spending doesn't make you poor. It makes you independent. Knowing where every dollar goes is a habit of the successful. Like Rockefeller, don't spend to satisfy an emotion, spend to achieve a goal. Financial discipline is not a sacrifice, it is the path to freedom. Principle 5, avoid bad debt. Debt is a financial chain. Rockefeller's view on debt was clear. John D. Rockefeller never had a positive view of debt. He once said, "I hate debt. It is bondage, a thief of freedom, and the reason people are forever poor." To him, debt was not just a financial tool, it was a trap. He avoided consumer loans entirely. He never borrowed money to live better or to satisfy a desire. If he ever took on debt, it was only to make money work harder, to grow capital, not to cover spending. The brutal truth about consumer debt is that today, debt has become normal for many people. Buying a phone on installments, buying a car with a loan, swiping credit cards without control, borrowing from friends just to go out on the weekend. But here's the result: your salary disappears before you receive it, you're under constant stress, you can't save, you can't invest, and you lose your freedom and sense of control. Bad debt quietly turns you from being the master of your life into a servant of money. Rockefeller built his fortune debt-free. When Rockefeller started, he didn't borrow recklessly to chase wealth. He worked as a simple bookkeeper, saved from his salary, and slowly invested his own money. Each dollar was earned. Each investment was made with discipline. He reinvested profits and expanded gradually, brick by brick, not borrowed stone by borrowed stone. That's how he built a solid financial empire, on real assets, not loans. The difference between good debt and bad debt was clear to Rockefeller. He wasn't completely against debt but knew the difference between two kinds of debt. Good debt is a loan that generates income and grows your wealth, such as borrowing to invest in a property that brings in monthly rental income. Bad debt is a loan used to consume that gives only short-term satisfaction but long-term burden, such as borrowing to buy luxury goods, go on vacation, or upgrade your lifestyle. He always said no to bad debt and only used financial leverage when the risks were carefully calculated and under control. How to avoid bad debt in your life? Only borrow when absolutely necessary and have a clear plan to repay. Never borrow to impress others or chase a lifestyle. Pay off high-interest debts first, especially credit cards. Build an emergency fund so you don't need to borrow in a crisis. Always ask yourself, will this loan help me grow financially? If not, don't take it. Freedom comes when debt ends. Rockefeller believed, a man without debt is a free man. Without debt, you keep what you earn, you invest with clarity, not pressure, and you live with peace, not fear. Debt is like invisible chains. The more you carry, the slower you move. In conclusion, freedom or slavery, it's your choice. Debt is not always bad, but only if you control it. The truth is most people are not in control of their debt. They borrow to spend and spend to escape. But escape is temporary, debt stays. So don't borrow to spend, save to spend. Learn from Rockefeller, build your future with discipline, real value, and real assets, not with fragile loans. Because in the end, financial freedom is not about earning more, it's about owing nothing. Principle 6, invest in yourself first, knowledge is your greatest asset. Rockefeller started with nothing but never acted like he had nothing. He wasn't born rich. He didn't inherit a fortune. But he carried something even more powerful, a mindset of growth. He once said, "I may not be rich today, but if I am rich in knowledge, I will never be poor for long." From his teenage years, Rockefeller studied accounting at night, saved money to buy books, and learned from everyone around him, even his own employees. He believed if you build your mind, your fortune will follow. Education is not an expense, it's an investment. While most people spend money on things that disappear, such as clothes, phones, or entertainment, Rockefeller spent money on things that compound over time: new skills, financial education, books and mentors, health, and discipline. He knew these things never get old, never get stolen, and always pay off. Ask yourself honestly, how much are you investing in yourself? Take a look at your past month. How much did you spend on fast food, new clothes, or entertainment? And how much did you spend learning a new skill, reading a book, or taking care of your health? Now ask, when problems come, do I search for knowledge or do I look for shortcuts? Poor people spend to survive. Rich people spend to grow. Knowledge turned Rockefeller into a business leader by age 20. In his first job, he didn't just work like everyone else. He observed, studied, and took notes. He learned how money moved in the business, understood company systems, and absorbed successful strategies from his boss. By the age of 20, he had already mastered enough to launch his own company. He didn't waste 10 years learning the hard way because he had already learned through others. Knowledge is a shortcut if you pay attention. How to invest in yourself every single day. Read or study for at least 30 minutes each day. Take online courses in finance, business, marketing, or communication. Surround yourself with people who are smarter and better, learn from them. Exercise, eat well, and sleep well. A tired mind cannot grow. Carry a notebook or phone app to jot down lessons and ideas anytime. These are small habits with massive returns. Long-term thinking, what you know stays with you forever. Jobs come and go. Money can be lost. But your skills, mindset, and experience stay with you for life. They create opportunities, open doors, and build your value. Rockefeller said it best, your greatest wealth is not in your pocket, it is in your mind. In conclusion, if you want to be rich long-term, enrich yourself first. Every lesson you learn moves you closer to freedom. Every hour you invest in yourself builds unshakable value. Every book, course, or conversation compounds over time. Learn from Rockefeller, don't just earn, learn. Because knowledge is the kind of wealth that no one can ever take away from you. Principle 7, work with iron discipline. Success is the result of habits. John D. Rockefeller was not a genius. He did not wake up every day with excitement, he woke up with discipline. He once said, "I work every day not because I want to, but because I have chosen to commit to a life of excellence." Success lies not in emotional outbursts, but in daily, consistent actions. Rockefeller always lived with a clear schedule. He woke up at the same time every day, whether he was tired or not. He worked according to specific time frames and always took time to think, plan, and review what he had done. For him, a day without productive work was a day of shame. He didn't create his oil empire overnight. He built it step by step with simple, consistent habits. He kept meticulous records of expenses and profits, double-checked each financial statement, met with staff, and observed every link in the company's operations in detail. He didn't let guesswork guide his decisions but relied on data and logic. His success was not a miracle but the result of daily discipline. The difference between ordinary people and rich people lies in habits. Most people work when they feel like it, procrastinate when tired, and expect quick success without repeating the action long enough. Rockefeller was different. He worked even when he didn't feel inspired, stuck with small daily habits, and believed that real value comes from consistency, not bursts. To practice discipline like Rockefeller, set a daily schedule and commit to 80 to 90% of it. Wake up early and work before the world wakes up. Take notes and evaluate every day, what works and what doesn't. Eliminate bad habits such as mindless social media browsing, procrastination, and lack of clear goals. Create your own commitments by writing down your goals and sharing them with others to hold yourself accountable. Rockefeller taught that purposeful repetition creates greatness. He said, "You don't have to do great things in a big way. Just do small things with great persistence." Remember, a good action repeated once is nothing special, but a good action repeated 1,000 times creates a successful person. Discipline is not something you are born with, it is something you practice. No one is successful if they live by their emotions. Rockefeller did not let emotions dictate his career. He let discipline, planning, and good habits guide him. If you want to be successful, don't ask, "Am I inspired today?" Ask, "What have I committed to, and am I disciplined enough to complete it?" Principle 8, know how to choose partners, make friends with people who have the same values. Rockefeller understood something important in business and life: I would rather do business with an honest person, even if he is not very good, than a genius with no ethics. He believed that a good partner not only brings profit but also brings trust, stability, and goes the long way together. Rockefeller's criteria for choosing companions were not based on skills first. He chose for personality, ethics, lifestyle, and thinking. He often observed carefully how that person manages personal money, how that person treats employees and the weak, and how that person reacts to difficulties and challenges. Only when he saw integrity and steadfastness did he place his trust. Your companion doesn't need to be like you, but must share the same vision. Rockefeller once said, "I don't need you to be like me. But I need you to look in the same direction and keep your word." A good relationship can complement each other's skills, but there must be agreement on principles, values, and ways to resolve conflicts. In Standard Oil, he worked with extremely different people, some hot-tempered, some cold-hearted, some extremely technical, but they all believed in long-term development, accepted no cheating, foul play, or short-term gain, and were always committed to transparency and accountability. The most expensive mistake is to associate with the wrong person. Rockefeller saw many large businesses fail not because of lack of capital, but because of embezzlement, lying, and snatch-and-grab partners, internal conflicts caused by different values, one wanting sustainable development, the other just wanting to get rich quick. His lesson was, never trade value for opportunity and don't blindly choose because of attractive profits. To choose the right person to go with, observe actions, don't just listen to words. Promises are cheaper than actual behavior. Find people with a long-term development mindset, they won't betray you for short-term benefits. Prioritize people who keep their word and are willing to share the pressure. Cooperate slowly but steadily, verification is necessary, don't be hasty. Create transparent contracts and clearly share rights from the beginning. Make friends with the right people, you can grow 10 times. You can't go far if you're carrying someone who isn't going in the same direction. You can't grow if your partner is always doubting and holding you back. Rockefeller understood this. He picked the right people and built a great, lasting empire. Conclusion: the companion determines financial destiny. Great success is not a solitary game, but you cannot play with someone who does not know the rules. Learn from Rockefeller, make smart friends, choose people who share the same principles in life. Principle 9, always keep a humble mind, the higher the range, the more you must bow. Rockefeller believed humility is the foundation of longevity. Despite being one of the richest and most powerful people in the world, he always maintained a humble attitude. He did not consider himself invincible or above others but was always aware that pride is the greatest enemy of sustainability. Humility helped him learn, adjust, and grow over the long run. Humility is not weakness but true strength. Many people confuse humility with weakness or lack of confidence, but for Rockefeller, humility meant knowing your limits, listening to others' opinions, including those of subordinates, and accepting mistakes and correcting them rather than denying them. Humility helped him maintain good relationships and avoid complacency and loss of vigilance. The more successful you are, the more you have to bow down to life. Rockefeller experienced many ups and downs in his career, from volatile markets to fierce competitors. He understood that today's success does not guarantee tomorrow, and there are always forces bigger and stronger than us from which we must learn. Bowing your head is to see the truth, not to lower yourself. Rockefeller was a voracious reader who absorbed knowledge from many fields: business, religion, philosophy, and social sciences. He did not hesitate to learn from those materially inferior to him because he knew, the person who teaches you today may be the person who brings you success tomorrow. To stay humble in life, ask yourself every day, am I being complacent or arrogant? Accept feedback and constructive criticism. Always maintain a learning attitude, even when you are successful. Meet and talk to people from different walks of life. Remember that success is not a final destination but a long journey. Conclusion: humility is the guiding principle for every leader and investor. Rockefeller showed that humility does not weaken you but helps you stand firm in the face of all events. If you want to go far, you must go with humility. If you want to be steady, you must learn to bow your head. Principle 10: invest in yourself. Knowledge and health are your most valuable assets. John D. Rockefeller believed that your most valuable asset is not money or land, but yourself, expressed through knowledge and health. He said, knowledge will follow you wherever you go, but money can be lost. Likewise, without good health, you will not have the strength to take advantage of opportunities and maintain success. Continuous learning is the key to making a difference. Rockefeller spent a lot of time reading books, learning from experts, and constantly updating his business knowledge and management skills. He was never complacent with what he knew. He understood that the world is always changing, competition is always fierce, and those who learn and adapt will always be at the top. Taking care of your health keeps your energy and mind sharp. In addition to his intelligence, Rockefeller also paid special attention to his health. He maintained healthy living habits such as eating and drinking in moderation, exercising regularly, staying positive, and avoiding excessive stress. A healthy body helped him work more effectively, persevere through difficulties, and stay clear-headed in important decisions. Investing in yourself is the most sustainable investment. Despite many outside investment opportunities, Rockefeller always emphasized, never stop investing in yourself, because it is the investment that will pay the best dividends in the long run. You can lose money in the market, but if you invest in your skills, knowledge, and health, you increase your self-worth, something money cannot buy. Practical application: to invest in yourself effectively, maintain the habit of reading and learning every day, participate in courses and training to improve professional skills, exercise regularly, maintain a reasonable diet, ensure enough sleep and relaxation to protect your spirit, and set clear personal development goals while monitoring your progress regularly. Conclusion: you are your greatest and most valuable asset. John D. Rockefeller demonstrated that when you invest properly in yourself, you have a solid foundation to create and maintain long-term wealth. Thank you for watching today's video. As you can see, controlling your spending isn't just about saving money, it's about creating financial freedom and building lasting success. Learn from Rockefeller, who turned every dollar he spent into a soldier that brings real value. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss more important financial lessons. Wishing you all smart spending habits and a speedy journey to your own financial freedom. See you in the next video.